The installation depicted in the following video is for demonstration purposes only. Site conditions and project requirements may vary. For information or assistance concerning your custom installation, please contact Power Busway for support. Welcome to the Power Busway Cable Bus Systems demonstration video. In the next few minutes, you'll discover just how quick and easy installing a custom Power Busway cable bus system can be. Because each and every Power Busway cable bus system is custom designed for your application, our team of engineers will have reviewed and measured the job site in advance in order to provide all the necessary components needed for an efficient installation. Your kit includes color-coded components that are easy to assemble, the cable bus enclosure and pre-measured fittings, all required wall flanges and equipment entry flanges, a pre-calculated power cable length, all required hardware, all required bonding accessories for the enclosure, as well as detailed instructions and site-specific drawings. Let's begin by assembling the cable bus enclosure. First, secure the equipment entry flange to the first termination compartment and fasten all of the mounting hardware. Ensure that the flange is secure and the gaskets are compressed. Next, using the color coding or identification labels, position the 90-degree fitting atop the vertical straight section. Slide both pieces into position and fasten using the corresponding hardware. Once firmly connected, mount the vertical straight section atop the equipment entry flange. Position the two properly and bolt them into place. Next up, attach the horizontal straight section to the vertical 90-degree fitting. Be sure to follow all lift safety guidelines when performing any elevated assembly. Align the horizontal straight section to the vertical 90-degree fitting and slide into place. Secure properly before continuing. At the opposite end, immediately above the second termination compartment, position and fasten the remaining vertical 90-degree fitting. Then, using the second vertical straight section, you will be able to determine the placement of the final equipment entry window. Slide the section firmly into place and mark the window location before proceeding. Once the equipment entry window has been cut, fasten the second flange to the termination compartment. Align the vertical straight section and adjust accordingly if necessary. Verify that the enclosure is level before tightly attaching the vertical straight section to both the flange and the vertical 90-degree fitting. Finally, secure the cable bus enclosure to the support structure. Once the entire enclosure is in place, proceed to Stage 2, Cable Installation. Using any standard rope, you'll be able to confirm the proper cable lengths as shown on the bill of materials. Thread the rope through the equipment entry flange and guide along the cable bus enclosure to reach the termination compartment. Allow enough slack on each end to ensure the cables will land properly on each bus bar. Always remember to use the path of the longest possible length and ensure all phase cables are equal in length. At this point, you'll prepare an initial cable to verify your measurements. Translate the rope length to the floor just beyond your cable reel. Unspool a length of cable in accordance with the floor markings and cut using cable shears. Consult your installation drawings for phase arrangement and identify and label each cable at both ends with phase identification tape. The initial cable is now ready to be installed. As the length of all other cables will be based on the initial cable, it is critical to confirm that the length is correct. Install the initial cable into the enclosure and pull into position, eliminating any slack, leaving adequate tail length for the terminations. Satisfied that your initial cable length is correct, cut the remaining cables, ensuring that they are all of equal length. Remember to label each cable individually for the correct phase arrangement as outlined in your manual and diagrams. Next, load the bottom layer of cables into the enclosure, tightening each watertight connector one at a time prior to placing the next cable. Then, unspool the copper bonding wire along the enclosure in the designated locations as shown in the installation instructions. Determine the appropriate length, mark, and then cut. Connect the copper bonding wire to the enclosure using the factory-installed clamps and hardware. Fasten securely at each designated interval. With the bonding wire in place, install the remaining cables into the enclosure, adding in support blocks between layers of cable. Install the top cross support for each cable support block assembly and secure using the fastening rods. Finally, attach the top cover of the cable bus enclosure using the hardware provided. With the enclosure fully loaded, it's time for Stage 3 of the installation: cable termination. Measure the interior depth of the provided lugs and translate the depth measurement to the cable. Strip the cable jacket before fitting each lug onto the cable stranding. Using the specified tools and dies, crimp the lug securely to each end of the cables. It's recommended that heat shrink tubing be used to seal each termination. Be sure to comply with all safety standards when completing this step. After the cables have been sealed, it's imperative to test each cable to verify that the phase identification is correct and that the cable insulation has at no point been compromised. Satisfied with the integrity of the cables, you may now bolt each lug to the bus bar and tighten with the appropriate hardware. Using a torque wrench, torque each bolt to the specified rating. Finally, secure the copper bonding wire to the equipment ground. Once each termination compartment has been verified and closed up, your cable bus installation is ready to be energized. Thanks for watching the Power Busway Cable Bus Systems demonstration video. For more information, please visit us online at powerbusway.com.